Hi there, folks. Here's another the Success Summit, the Membership Success Summit pre-summit interview with one of our great speakers. I've got Britney Gardner with me. She's going to be doing a really fabulous presentation, which is the title of How to Build an Audience with Stellar Content. So, Britney, maybe you could introduce yourselves to the people that are watching this, a bit about your background, and then why this particular subject and title for your presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been an entrepreneur of one kind or another for about 20 years. So promoted a few different kinds of businesses along the way.
I don't believe that. Did you start at 10? Or did you start at 10 or something?
No, but some good genes are helping me along the way. I'll go with that. I promise you, I'm old enough to actually say that. But yeah, no, I started out as a photographer, built an audience for that business, moved 2014, so 8 years ago, I guess, into the world of marketing and branding, and built audiences for that. And I've been helping other people do the same along the way. So that's a little bit about me in a nutshell.
Yeah. And what about the subject, how to build your audience with stellar content? Why did you thought that was a great subject for your presentation, and what drew you to it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I work with content. I'm a content strategist by and large. So, obviously, good content is going to be something that I always kind of, plant my flag on, right? But in terms of building an audience with stellar content, it's really important when we're talking about what kind of avenues you're going to take your business in, right? So, if you're a service provider and you can take on a maximum of, let's say, 4 clients a month, one a week ish, right? You don't need to have a large audience. And I actually run into this with like some of my service provider friends all the time. They are like, yeah, I just don't really feel like I would need to invest time in content. Sometimes I'll throw a blog post up, but it's not regular and I'm fine. Like I've got a full roster of clients. I work on referral, word of mouth's great for me. And to those people, I bow down and say, that's awesome. If you can make that work, then keep going with it. I do like to throw a caveat in there and say what happens when word of mouth dries up or whatnot. Like, do you have a backup plan? I hope you do. But beyond that, by and large, people in those kinds of work can typically get away with saying things like that and being okay, more or less, right?
Yeah.
When we're moving into the other kind of business models online, memberships, obviously being one, having a membership group of some sort, course creators, anyone serving more people at one time, that audience need grows, not just like regularly, but almost exponentially. And we do need to have a good content plan that not only um, makes sense to you, but really invites your audience member along a journey and connects the dots between where they are right now, where they need to be before they even can consider working with you, and where they really want to be, way down the line. And having a really good content plan, it does a lot of heavy lifting in that business. It does a lot of work for you. And I'm a huge believer in making things work for you since you're spending time on them.
I think it's just a fascinating subject. My observation, and I agree with everything you've just outlined, is that I think with the people that are doing okay with recommendations, personal recommendations, all that kind of personal introduction stuff, is that I think where content can even benefit there is you're building your influence. By utilizing quality content, you're building your industry's position. You're becoming an industry influencer, and that will enable you to attract better clients and more profitable clients. So even though you might have a full book of business 3 months out, you should still allocate time, because it will build you as being an industry influencer and enable you to get better, more interesting clients. What do you think
Yeah,
about that?
absolutely. No, I think you're totally on the ball there. Not even just more clients or more interesting clients. What if you want to take your career in a slightly different realm? For example, I have a business acquaintance who unfortunately has an eyesight issue, and she knows for a fact that over time she's just going to start losing her eyesight, and it's already
Oh,
kind of
sorry to
started.
hear that, Brittany.
Yeah. So it's, for her, it's like, well, she's a copywriter. So, or was a copywriter, I should say.
Mm.
And staring at a screen all day makes it worse and it's making it happen faster. So, what does someone like that do? Well, she knows her subject in and out. She's good at it, right? So why not move into more of a teaching model, right? It wasn't necessarily on her agenda. Um, but if she moves more into a teaching role model situation, then she doesn't have to be staring at a screen quite so often and will, save her health as a result. Or what if you want to go on the speaking circuit? You've been to a few conferences professionally and you're like, I know just as much as that person on stage. I can totally do this. You can't get enough notoriety to do that kind of thing by serving just a couple clients here and there. You do need to have some sort of authority presence online.
Yeah, I think you're so correct about that. When it comes to actually building stellar content, I'm from a web design development background. At
Mhm.
WP-Tonic, we try and help people build membership websites on WordPress, but we try and remove all the frustration of utilizing WordPress. So we provide quality hosting, a suite of plugins, and we set it all up for the client and then give them some initial onboarding training so they don't feel lost. And it works really well. But based on my experience of working with clients, is that they really, a lot of them know their subject, and they think that we don't have to hire a copywriter, and they can write the material. And it's normally a disastrous, painful experience. They don't realize the amount of work involved. And secondly, it's not they do know their subject, but there's a difference between knowing your subject and being able to communicate it effectively to your target audience. Is this the same when it comes to content for a membership site? And have you got any insights about what people got to kind of understand when they're producing written content for their membership site?
Yes, it is the same, but maybe to a lesser degree. So I'll explain that. When you are writing the content for your website, like your, about page content, your homepage content, headlines, right? You got seconds, mere seconds to make that impression. And if you fail on it, it has pretty dire consequences. They're like, I'm out of here, I'm bouncing. When you're writing content that goes out into the world via like blog posts or, streaming videos, podcasts, even down to smaller things like social media posts, you have a little more leeway because people aren't necessarily going to go unfollow and block you because you didn't grab their attention with the first line. They may keep scrolling, but you'll probably pop up again. So there's a little more leeway. And I don't like to make people feel like it's a make it or break it with your
Yeah.
general content.
Yeah.
That said, there is still a huge disconnect between writing content that you know very well and writing it in a way that makes it, one, interesting to the person viewing, and two, something that they can actually believe in. So when I say that, what I'm saying is, there's three levels, right, of attention, interest, and then trust. So attention is something that can happen with anything. I mean, if I yell fire in a crowded theater, I'm going to get me some attention,
I do it every week, Brittany.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going very well for you too. But yeah, it's like a thing, right? So you can get attention, but you're not going to keep attention if it's not interesting. If I yell that, I'll probably get, first of all, arrested because that's not actually free speech. But I'm not going to keep their attention once people realize that the fire is not there. So we're doing the same thing in our social content. If I tell you, hey, there are 3 kinds of content you need to build your membership site successfully, I need to then start delving into those 3 kinds fairly quickly to keep their interest. But if I start saying things that are so out of left field for this audience member, like maybe it's like 3 or 4 steps ahead of where they are today in their current knowledge set. They're going to be interested, but also think, this isn't for me. So you need to weave in ways to connect the dots to build them up from one step to another. And even if you can't do that in your content, which you probably can't move them like more than one step ahead with your regular content, you need to show them that it's possible. Sometimes that's going to mean using case studies or testimonials. Sometimes it's going to be acknowledging, hey, just 6 months ago, I was in this spot, and now through just a little bit of work, I'm way over here. I want to get you here, even though I'm there. And to do that, it's hard for us as experts. You know what I mean? Like, we know our subjects intimately. We know so easily that things become so logical and so common sense to us. We forget to tell them that there's that step along the way. And that is actually the biggest problem I see with most content out there.
So I think what you're
forget that.
So I think what you're outlining to me is that they know a subject really well, but they've got to place themselves in the shoes of when they weren't that expert, when they were, and there's a difference in language styles when it comes to written content. And you've got to understand that, because otherwise you're going to lose people very quickly. Am I about right about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, from your world, can you imagine being like, yeah, you just go and install the WordPress database and you put a page builder on there and you click a few doodads, make it look pretty, and you're good to go.
You're good to go.
Right? Like, that's not how your clients are going to decide to trust you, first of all.
That's where I've been
also,
failing, Brittany. It's all so clear there.
But like you're skipping so many steps along the way that to you are easy, but to a client are real hurdles and real blocking points. That's not going to help build your audience full of people who are ready to actually like sign on with you.
Another thing that I think I can base it on my web design development agency is that there's a ton. Somebody signs a contract, gives you a deposit, and then you throw 1,000 questions at them. We need you to fill some more questionnaires. We need you to give us answer these questions. We need these meetings, blah, blah, blah. And they're just giving you a check, and they thought, well, we're just giving these people a gob of money, and we thought they were going to do it all. And now there's triple the amount of work that's been on, and I can't manage the daily amount of work I've got now, just about. So I learned quite quickly, and I will get to the point here, Brittany, don't worry, because I'm a bit long-winded, to be truthful. But I learned quite quickly that it's really important to get a win quickly, to get some kind of concrete progress done pretty quick in the first couple of days, to something that relates, so that's semi-important to the client. So it builds trust, and it cements control, because they really want you to be in control. That's why they're paying you. Obviously, they don't want to be dominated, but they want to feel that you know what you're doing and you know where you're taking them. And I think the same thing applies with a membership site and those that are taking their first course with you. You've got to attempt to try and get that first win. What do you think about that, Brittany?
Yeah, it's actually a big error I've seen in membership sites in the past. People are like, great, you're in the membership now. Here's your portal. It's got all these fun doodads. It can have this. Here's your calls. Here's your content, all this stuff, right? And one of the reasons people join memberships is because they want that personal touch, and maybe they can't afford your one-on-one services, or maybe they're just not interested in that level of support, but they still want that personal touch. If they didn't want it, a membership site's typically not the best place for them. So I feel like, people feel like there's all this content that was going out to get them into the membership site, and then typically that content disappears the minute they're in. And I am a huge fan of having parallel paths of content. So there's the content you use that market your services. Hey, here's my membership. Here's what you're going to get out of it. Here's where you're going to be after being in it. And then there's the content that you should probably be creating for only your membership people as well. And it's going to follow very similar themes. It might actually even be incredibly similar, but it's specifically devoted just to people who are in your membership because it helps them feel special. It helps them feel seen, and it will do double duty of guiding them along the journey so you don't have that typical churn fall off after like the 4th or 5th month of membership.
Well, you just mentioned something that's also really important, because obviously it's important. And this is really some of the key concepts that really pumped me up to do the summit, because I've seen so many clients put the cart before the horse, which is what really the first day is about. And what I mean by that, Brittany, is they think we're going to have this fabulous course with all this content. I've spent months and months and months writing it all, and videos and quizzes and gamification. And I've taken months to choose the right platform to build this on. And they're just going to come. They're just going to come. And nobody comes, because you've got to have your tribe. You've got to have your audience. You've got to build some interest and then give them that audience that you've built. And that's what day one is about. And day two is about some of the things we've discussed, where you do need some insight about content, about video production, about the technology. You do need something, because what I think you're meant is a lot of people are very good at the marketing, and when people get into the course, they feel, I wouldn't say cheated, but they feel slightly underwhelmed and slightly disappointed.
That's a good word, underwhelmed, yeah.
Yeah, and they're very good at attracting members, but it's a leaky bucket. They're attracting members, but the churn rate is terrible. And the churn rate is linked to what you've just outlined. Would you agree with that?
I would, yeah. The marketing doesn't stop once they've joined the membership. You're still marketing to people in the membership, marketing your current value to them, marketing continued value in the future. And I feel like a lot of people who run memberships have forgotten that.
What's your feelings about community? Because I think one of the buzz things, we get a lot of interest about Buddy Boss. People look at Buddy Boss and Mighty Networks and a little bit with Facebook groups, but it's mostly around Mighty Networks, which, folks, if you haven't heard, that's a leading SaaS-based platform, where Buddy Boss is a WordPress solution. So, and also you've got Circle as well. I must mention that because Pat will get very upset with me. And so there's a lot of buzz about community. Have you got, when it comes to actual copywriting, and there's a lot of people that are looking to have a membership site, and they we're really looking at Mighty Networks, we're looking at Buddy Boss, and I look at them, and first of all, I say it's a great idea, but I say to them that how do I word it? It's going to be a lot of extra work. It can pay off substantially. What's your own feelings about this? Would you agree it's been bandied around quite a lot lately, this whole term of community?
I would say, yeah. But then I also look at, some of my experiences in communities, and the ones that I've stayed in are the ones who do community well. So I wouldn't say I'm an expert on this particular subject, but my personal feelings and experiential feelings are, if you're going to do it, don't look at it as something that just can happen on its own. You need to, if you can't manage it, put the time into it yourself. You need to have a community manager of some sort, making sure that the engagement level is good, right? For those who are not interested in doing it, if they can't do it well, figure out if you can create your membership without the community in a good, sustainable way. But if you're going to do it, like, don't do it halfway. you know?
And you got any thoughts about what you say you've been a member of? I know we're going off a little bit subject, but I'm really interested in your insights about this because I've been thinking about, because I've just come back from Word Camp USA,
Mhm.
and which has been a live event. A person actually met people, Brittany.
Yes.
It's been postponed for the past almost 3 years because of COVID, and one of the real strengths of WordPress is it's got a very close knit professional community that talk about WordPress. I've got one of the leading podcasts in the space, which I've been doing for 7 years. God. And community that was talked a lot about community at this word camp. So it's on my mind, Brittany.
Mhm.
So what are some of the things that you think that stick in your mind that are linked to a well-run community? What are some of the things?
I would say the things that have stood out to me in the past that work well are the give and take between people who are running the community and people contributing to the community, and having a healthy respect for everybody involved. Whoever owns the community can't be someone who immediately shuts down any negative talk. Like, they need to address it appropriately. And I know that that's a touchy subject for a lot of people, but I've seen communities die when it's just a dictatorship. The ones that I'm a part of right now, I'm in a mastermind that has 12 people in it or so, and it's just run on Slack. It's not even like technically like in our community. It's just a Slack channel with various different threads on different topics, organized well. So if you're looking for information from the past, you can easily find it.
Can
Another
you,
one. Oh, go ahead.
Brittany, can you do that in Slack?
Well, once you know how it works, which I will admit it took me a while, but that one is actually, like, there's threads for, help, threads for water cooler, threads for, copy critique, threads for various different things. So that one actually is, run pretty well.
I've got
Uh,
a hate love affair with Slack. It's so useful, but on the other hand, every time I'm looking for something, I have to do a Google search, and half hour to 45 minutes disappear.
you know what? I'm in a couple other Slack groups that I can't. So I just don't even go because I can't figure it out. So, like, I think it's how it's set up initially, but I've never done that. So don't listen to me on that part.
I think they've got a slight problem with their UX design, but it's easy to criticize. But good UX design is not easy, is it?
It's not easy. Nope.
And Slack demonstrates that so clearly, don't they? I'll be
Yeah.
nasty now, would I? So to finish up, because I just wanted this a quick chat. I know you're a
Yeah.
busy lady. So what would you hope from your presentation at the superb summit that's coming up? What would you hope people, the one thing they get from it, what one insight that they might get from it?
Yeah. The number one thing people should be able to get from it is to look at their current content plan and figure out where the holes are. Realistically, nobody's perfect. My content plan is not perfect. And knowing where I need to work on things to get my own better is, like, not just half the battle. It's like 90% of the battle. The rest of it is just, plugging in time where you need to fix a few things. So the number one thing people will get from it is saying, okay, this is what I know I need to be doing. This is the areas where I am succeeding, and these are the areas where I'm not currently succeeding. And now I can go back and work on those. Once you have that, the rest of it is just figuring out a few mechanics here and there.
I think that's so fantastic, Brittany, because I'm not being patronising. That really resonates with me, because if you have no roadmap or you have no to analyze something, you really truly are lost. But if you can see the weaknesses and not be too hard on you, but have a plan to work on them, it's totally doable, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. It's just getting that outline in front of you, looking at it and being like, okay, now we can break it down into manageable chunks.
Brittany, you're being a star. I'm really looking forward to your presentation on
Thank
the
you.
Membership Success Summit. Like I say, we've got some fab speakers like Brittany. I've been amazed. I pulled some favours out. Pat agreed to be the keynote. I think Rob Rowling, the founder of Drip, Morton Hendrickson, the lead trainer at LinkedIn Learning, is part of it. We got Neil Straffner. Neil's just a machine when it comes to social media and influencer building. To say that we got some fab speakers and you're going to get some great insight is the understatement of the year. And join us on the 28th and the 29th, the 29th and the 30th. Sorry. And you'll be able to join us totally free. You'll be able to watch it live, totally free. And then we've got a paid ticket where you can see the recordings and you can be part of a third day, which is on the 1st of October, which is more training orientated. And Neil is going to do some of that training. And we got some great special offers, prizes for that third day. So it's just a fantastic package. Brittany, you're being a star. I look forward to your presentation. We'll be back, Nick. We've got a load. I'll be practically speaking to all the present Morton on Monday and all the presentators during next week and the following week. So keep tuned. I think this has been a fab discussion. I'll see you soon, folks. Bye.